For the first time in about 2 years, sweet Darcy has graced us with her presence during filming. She was in the room for every one of my videos up until a couple moves ago. She's hanging out with me today. I may have coerced her with a heating pad on her dog bed. Anyway, hi dreamers, welcome back to my channel, or welcome here if you're new. My name's Jacqueline. I'm really glad you decided to stop by. Hope you consider subscribing, and today I thought I would show you some plants that have made their way into my collection despite it being winter, despite me not really wanting any more plants. I've talked about that a couple of times now, most recently in my vlog. If you haven't watched that, it's right over here. Essentially, I've been on a one in, one out kind of situation. I also spoke about in that vlog that there have been several plants that have been removed from my collection for various reasons, and so I felt it appropriate throughout the last couple of months to pick up a couple of plants. I mean, if you saw the thumbnail, you probably know why I bought one of them. First, let's talk about the one that I don't have like handy. You can actually kind of see it in the corner over here. Yesterday, was it yesterday? Gosh, my days are running together. Anybody else? This week at some point, a couple days ago, I think, I picked up a board intended for like fencing for outside, just a rough wood plank. And that's what I could find that was already cut to a size that I could use without having to do any more manual labor. Use some plant Velcro to attach my I was gonna say Monstera again. Oh my God. Okay. Monstera, Peru, also known as Monstera Karstenianum. That's where that extra R was coming from. I had been wanting to acquire more of that plant. I got the original pieces that I have in a trade. Learn from my mistake. Do not send your plants that you intend to trade before the person you're trading with is ready to send your plants, because it's entirely possible that that person will just never send those plants. Yes, that is what happened to me. Yes, I sent them trade plants early because I was in the process of moving and it was chaotic, and then I just never got the plants that I traded for. Oh well, don't do what I did. I've been patiently waiting for something that I felt was worth the price, and I believe this one was like $22 or $24. It's one plant, but the leaves are really large, and I figured if I gave it something to climb, then maybe it would continue giving me large leaves, and I would really love that. The small pot of cuttings that I have, I think I'm gonna let that one be a trailing plant. I had originally intended to put them all together, but I don't see the point of doing that right now. I think it would just cause more stress to both plants. This is Hoya Cumingiana. I found it unlabeled actually, so it was in a garden center that I had not been to yet. It was just marked as an assorted succulent. And I was like, I'm pretty sure that's a Hoya. This plant came in 4-inch pots, and I actually purchased 3 of them and then repotted them together. They were in a very dense soil mixture and they had been watered really heavily, so repotted them into something that I thought the roots would succeed in. Hoya bella or some other thin-leaved Hoyas like Hoya multiflora. Even if they'd like to keep a little bit of moisture retention in the soil, or they want to remain a little more moist than our more drought-tolerant Hoyas, they still need to be able to drain properly and not have waterlogged soil. I don't repot new plants in my collection as a rule of thumb necessarily, but if they seem to need it, then I will try to intervene. I'm not sure why this plant is putting off such tiny and spaced out growth. Maybe it's the ones that aren't attached to anything. It's pretty close to a couple of grow lights. I want to say it's just a few feet away from multiple grow lights, so it shouldn't be a lack of light issue. I think Hoya Cumingiana is supposed to be an easy bloomer, but I could be confusing it with Hoya David Cumingi. If you noticed this little gap behind me, this is why. My Hoya Polyneura. I'm so excited about this plant. I had gotten a 4-leaf cutting back in 2020, and I went through a whole emotional roller coaster with that plant. I will link that video if you are interested in it. It didn't make it in the end, and I was very sad about it. I had ordered it online, so it had to survive shipping and all that sort of thing. Like all the plants in this haul, found this locally, and I just thought You know, it's kind of expensive, but this was my #1 wish list plant. My #1 wish list Hoya for a very long time. So I am very happy to have it. It has put off some new growth that you can see while in my care. This one has a little bit of splash, which is really fun. A couple of the leaves have some sun damage, but it was nothing too crazy. I saw the growth points when I bought it, but it had not started making new leaves yet, so this is very exciting that it kept those growth points. It likes to remain a little more moist in the soil than some of our drought-tolerant Hoyas too, but this one really does not tolerate high temperatures well, and that was what happened with my original one. It is winter, so I think it didn't get shocked because of that. It prefers it a little bit cooler. Granted, all it did was a short car ride. This last plant is a very different plant than the rest. It's a different genus. This is an Anthurium. I have one other Anthurium. If you have not seen my recent Houseplants I Never Talk About video, I will link that for you. It's another really interesting looking plant, so go check that out if you have not already. This is what's called a bird's nest Anthurium, which just refers to kind of the growth pattern, how it's like a rosette. This is called an Anthurium Plowmanii. I've seen it called Anthurium Plowmanii Fruffles as well. The reason why I picked this plant in particular among the several that were available is that it has 2 different growth points. So I'm hoping that this plant is going to turn into 2. I think that would look really cool. Maybe it won't, that's okay, but it also just looked really healthy. I've had my other Anthurium for over 2 years now, and it has done really well, but it's been a very slow grower. When I bought it, it was a 4-inch pot, and I want to say it's put out on average 2 leaves a year, so it's not a fast grower by any means, but I've enjoyed that Anthurium enough, and I've had it long enough that I thought I'd like to get another one. And when I saw this in person for a reasonable price, I just couldn't walk away, and because it's a more juvenile specimen, this one was only $24, so I thought that was a really good deal for a plant that can become pretty freaking majestic. The big ones that I've seen of these in plant nurseries are pricey, but absolutely stunning. I love the detail on the leaves. It's so striking to me. I love veiny Hoyas. This veiny Anthurium is just really doing it for me. Let me know if you would have purchased any of these plants in that comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope you're having a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.